bursting with fruity flavor. Got kids or just a SpongeBob fan? Individual SpongeBob toys are available too. And it's Biscoff season at BK. Enjoy a creamy Biscoff shake or a smooth sweet Biscoff sundae or cone. SpongeBob Biscoff and flame grilled favorites. Only at Burger King. Your way every day.
Now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
Everywhere.
Can you hear me now? Everywhere. Everywhere.
Yes, right from your Android or iPhone. Download the Radio Cayman app now on your Android or iOS phone.
The Radio Cayman app
is where you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere you go.
Everywhere we go, we go. Everywhere we go, we go.
Find it in the Google Store, the Apple Store, or use the link at www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Yes, now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
The Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market, experience a world of choice. And Automotive Art Cayman, your car, our passion. And by Dorman Day, celebrating 10 years of opening doors to brighter futures. Visit dormanday.ky.
And now, Radio Cayman presents The Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local environment. This is where we address the topics that matter. Here's your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning, Cayman. Welcome to The Buzz. I am your host, Kathy Miller. It is a somewhat still windy but beautiful Tuesday nonetheless out there today. We've got some great things happening on The Buzz today. I got some open line to begin with, at least until 8 a.m. So I'm inviting you to give me a call and share what's on your mind. What are you thinking about? What are you concerned about? What are you happy about? Share a good story. What happened to you on the weekend that was good? Let me know. The numbers to call are 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or you can WhatsApp us on 925-3261. You can WhatsApp call or WhatsApp text us. I started the morning. You know, people say don't reach for social media right when you wake up in the morning, but I do because generally I have to turn my alarm off and then my phone's in my hand and then I just look for a second. I'm not one of those people that, takes a 2-hour break immediately in the morning. It's just I reach for my phone. It's kind of a natural thing. That's where my alarm is. I know a lot of people are like me, so I'm not alone in this. But it was really nice to wake up and see that Swanky Kitchen Band put out their first music video. They say it's their first music video, so it's kind of cute. So if you have Swanky Kitchen Band on Facebook or on Instagram, I saw it on Instagram at least, go check them out. They've put out an Easter video, and it is all about, they put out a music video, but it's all about Easter in Cayman out of Miss Paula's tent. And it's just really cute. And I want to big up our own Jevy, our own Giovanni E. Banks, because he has a special little cameo in the video as well. So proud to see Jevy. Jevy's always doing some real good cultural, prideful moments. I love to see it. So it's good to see Jevy out there on the video. There's a lot of people in the video that you're going to recognize. I mean, come on, it's Swanky Kitchen Band. It's going to be full of Caymanians, You're going to love it. So if anything, you can catch the video on YouTube. I'm going to assume you can just search Swanky Kitchen Band on YouTube and you'll be able to see their music video. So congrats, Swanky Kitchen Band. Long time coming, but it's here. And I love to see it. So it's one thing, everything you say is preserved through music forever, for life. But when you can put some visuals behind it too, that's a beautiful thing. So I haven't seen the full video. I just saw little clips of it on social media, so I'm excited to go check that out. So congrats again to Swanky Kitchen Band. So as I'm waiting to hear if you guys want to call me and talk to me about some stuff, I do want to hail up the DG5K and the organizing committee for that, because that was on the weekend. It was on Sunday, and it was absolutely packed. We know that it was a sold-out event a few days before Sunday, at least I think by Wednesday or Thursday. We got the notification that, hey, the event is sold out. We got to stop promoting it. We're good to go. So it was incredible to see the literal sea of people on the streets in support of the charities that funds were being raised for, and also also in support of our DG, Franz Mannerson, for his last official run as deputy governor, with retirement just a few months away. If they keep the race going, it doesn't mean he can't come back and join the race still. You know, it started with him. So, but it's kind of a bittersweet moment in the sense that the race started with him. He has been such an advocate for raising money for different charities over the years, and it being his last run with retirement just a few months away, it is a bittersweet moment. And I think so much of the support out there not only was for the charities, but was just definitely there for our deputy governor. So I hope he feels good. I hope he feels proud of the turnout. I'm sure he does. And word is that it was the biggest DG 5K yet, with just over 3,000 people registered. I'm not sure of the funds that were raised, but it did result in record donations to the Breast Cancer Foundation, Jasmine, and Special Olympics, Cayman Islands. Oh, Paul Silver Fox is with me in the studio over there, and he said he thinks it's just over 100,000. So he got a figure from somewhere. All right. Thank you for the update, Paul. So that's pretty awesome. So again, those donations went to the Breast Cancer Foundation, to Jasmine, and to Special Olympics, Cayman Islands. Sunday was also the kickoff day for the Move It Cayman Challenge. And if you haven't signed up, it's not too late. Just visit www.gov.ky/MoveItCayman. So I started with the Move It Challenge. Okay, right now I'm going to tell you all that Paul just got up and he is doing some sort of exercises. He has disappeared from the window. He's doing some squats and some stretches right now, some side stretches. So all I had to say was the Move It Challenge, and Paul jumped up and got moving. 10 air squats per hour is one of my tips. If you work, it's an 8-hour day, and it's, very, you're sitting down a lot. You're not really moving. You're not getting a lot of motion in your day. If the hack apparently is 10 air squats per hour, just use your body weight. Way to go, Paul. I'm seeing those air squats happen now. I'm not going to be doing no air squats while I'm hosting the show. You got to pay extra for that. That'd be a whole fitness class. But Move It Cayman Challenge, it did officially kick off on Sunday. So I was saying you can sign up. Just visit gov.ky/MoveItCayman. Now, I started the Move It Challenge with some yoga, but I'm going to be real honest and say that's my Sunday usual. But I still went, and I flew out that door trying to get ready for yoga. Why is it so early in the day? Why can't it be like at 7 or 8 o'clock at night? So anyways, I did my yoga, and last night I was determined to get at least, a little bit more exercise in. But I started preparing for the show, and that takes me forever and a day. So I walked my dog a little longer. But in saying that, there are some recommendations on what you should do for the Move It Cayman Challenge. So no, I do not feel guilty that I did not get any extra movement in yesterday, because I did get it on Sunday, and I know what I have planned for the week. So I did get a welcome email after signing up for the Move It Cayman Challenge. If you remembered at all, when I had communications manager Carolina Ferreira from the Ministry of Health on with me last week, she popped in a little bit for that interview. She did tell me that after I signed up, I would be receiving some welcome emails that will guide you kind of along the way, keep in touch with you throughout the 12-week challenge, kind of keep you motivated, give you some new ideas. So yes, I did get that email. So it's not that you just sign up and boom, that's it. You make some silent pledge to yourself. It's not that. There's a bit of a community effort going in. And it is, after all, a national health campaign for the Cayman Islands. It is countrywide. All 3 islands will be getting some of that Move It Cayman Challenge happening on all 3 islands in each district. So there's stuff to do. If you go to gov.ky/MoveItCayman, you will also see a calendar of events there, and the calendar is color-coded for free events and paid-for events, events with partnerships, and again, that is across all 3 islands. So I know that it was a question that somebody posed last week. Will there be events, for example, in Little Cayman? I said yes. Knowing that it's supposed to be all 3 islands, we did get confirmation from Carolina. And again, in that welcome email, it is confirmation again. There is events on all 3 islands. So, as I said, this challenge is the first step in the STEPS National Health Campaign. And this is in response to the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. That report was published in December 2024. And then you all know we had elections last year, April. So while elections happen and ministries shift a little bit and new ministers come in and some priorities might change within a ministry, thankfully, this health report did not get pushed to the side at all. It still remained a priority for the Ministry of Health, which I'm very happy about because there was so much work that was put behind this. And since the new government came in, they've been shaping what they're going to do now that the report has been published and they can take some action. So, over the last 5 Tuesdays, I had the partnership with the Ministry of Health where we went into details of the report, the 2023 National Health Survey. And you can always go to Radio Cayman's YouTube channel to access those interviews or access the report at gov.ky/steps. You can also get the information there. So often, government commissions a report and we don't always take action afterwards, right? But this time is different. The Ministry of Health has taken the data and embarked on a countrywide campaign, as I mentioned. It's to help get people to embrace better lifestyle factors that will affect their short and long-term health. The idea is to inform and help change behavior for the better, especially when being presented with data like 97% of us will develop a non-communicable disease like hypertension, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. 97% of us are pretty much guaranteed to develop a non-communicable disease. That is a disease that's not viral. You can't catch an infection by somebody with this. This is largely influenced by your lifestyle factors, which are very largely in your control, aside from some people with genetic factors. All the other lifestyle factors are very much in your control. So 97% of us can eliminate the possibility of getting a non-communicable disease if we just do the things that we're supposed to do. But why won't we do it? Why don't we change our behavior? Why don't we do things that are better for us when we know what the solution is? That's a question, man, across everything we do, across the knowledge that we get. Why don't we do better when we know better? So 70% of the population is overweight or obese. That's a startling number. 70%. 1 in 4 have never had their blood sugar taken. There's a lot of startling facts that came out of the National Health Survey. And if 70% of us are overweight or obese, and 97% of us will develop a non-communicable disease like hypertension or diabetes, we got to get moving. We got to figure out what we can do to prevent that. Not just for our own health, but for the economy. It places such a big burden on our country. So we've been sharing this information the last few weeks and trying to hammer it home that aside from the genetic factors, we otherwise have the ability to control whether we develop a non-communicable disease by focusing on 5 main risk factors. Now, what are those risk factors? Eating less than 5 servings of fruit or vegetables per day. I also want to stick in there that I'm trying to remember this fact, but I think it's either 14 or 20%. I'm going to go with 14 right now. 14% of the population does not eat any fruit or vegetables whatsoever. I just wondered, your body odor. I wonder about things like that. How do you not eat any fruits or vegetables? Do you know how much we have growing freely here in Cayman that is so good for you? So back to the risk factors. 5 main risk factors that we can control. So we should be eating more than 5 servings of fruit or vegetables per day. Another risk factor is not meeting the World Health Organization's recommended level of physical activity per week, which is at minimum 150 minutes per week. Having high blood pressure is another risk factor. Being overweight or obese and having a high BMI. Usually a high BMI indicates if you're obese or overweight. Smoking and alcohol consumption. Those are your main risk factors. There's so many other ones, but those are the main ones that lead to non-communicable disease. So the Ministry of Health, in partnership with many other government ministries and departments, as well as partnerships with the private sector, are trying to help us move and trying to help us understand the risks and take better control of our health and future. So the Move It Cayman Challenge is just the first step in a 4-part campaign that will be rolled out over the next year. And the first part of this campaign is looking to get us to move, even if it's just a little bit. Even if it's just a tiny little bit. So the basic guidelines sent in on the welcome email suggest the following amount of movement. Week 1 to 3, be active 2 times per week for 30 minutes. And that might sound really easy to some of us. That sounds very easy to me, but I'm already quite active. But for people who aren't active at all, who don't do anything, aside just moving around in their job a little bit, try to be active twice per week for 30 minutes. That's just, that's 4 separate walks or 2 separate 30-minute walks. You can get that done easy. You can listen to a podcast. You can talk to your friends on the phone, that kind of thing. We got to take a quick break. Paul signaling me to break. I was going to finish this part of my open line, but that's okay. Let's take a quick break. We'll get into the other recommendations of what you should be doing for physical movement when we come back from this break.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
The first recorded trading vessel between Jamaica and the Cayman Islands was the Bermuda sloop named the Experiment in 1744. One of the most valuable early accounts of Grand Cayman comes from naval hydrographer George Gauld, who made the first accurate map and recorded a detailed description of Grand Cayman in 1773. The first recorded Caymanian captain was William Bodden, captain of the schooner Susanna, which left Savannah Lamar for Grand Cayman in 1765. Bodden's son-in-law, William Eden, would go on to build Pedro Castle.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Saturday, April 18th, will be the gathering of the future. The gathering of budding scientists, budding botanists, budding engineers, budding medical specialists, marine biologists, systems architects, and much, much more. The Rotary Central Dr. Bill Rudy Science Fair will be at the Arc Commander Bay, 8 a.m. to 12 noon. The gathering of the future. Students from over 15 schools across Cayman. Save the date, April 18th. The Rotary Central Dr. Bill Rudy Science Fair, sponsored by CUC, supported by the Cayman Motor Federation. Sign up today. RotaryScienceFair.ky. The future is sparking.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Do you know a Caymanian living and working overseas who's doing big things and making us proud? Cayman Connection has officially opened nominations for the 2026 Making Waves Awards, celebrating Caymanians who are making a positive impact around the world. If you're thinking about somebody right now, it's no time like the present to nominate them and give them the recognition they deserve. The process is simple and doesn't take too long. Just visit caymanconnection.org/nominate. Nominations close April 13th. It's time to big up our people. Do it today.
Looking for a station that plays the music you actually love? Switch now to Breeze 105.3 FM. The best adult contemporary hits of the 70s, 80s, and more. All day, every day. Feel good. Sing along and let the breeze keep you company.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. How many of y'all did some air squats during that break right there? Not me. I can tell you that. I am your host, Kathy Miller, and I got some open line at least until 8 a.m., and I'm welcoming your calls, your comments, anything you want to talk about. The numbers to call are 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp call or WhatsApp text me on 925-3261. I open up the show giving some kudos to Swanky Kitchen Band because they have come out with their first music video. I saw snippets of it on Instagram. If you look for Swanky Kitchen Band on YouTube, you can catch the whole video there. It's an Easter scene in Miss Paula's tent. And I mentioned that our own Jevy Ebanks has a cameo in the video. It's full of Caymanians. It's just a beautiful video, at least from the snippets that I've seen so far. So go check that out. And congratulations to Swanky Kitchen Band. Love to see it. I was just talking about the Move It Cayman Challenge right before we took that break and telling y'all about the welcome email that I received, what is in that welcome email, and just the guidelines if you are trying to start moving it a little bit. The guidelines that were sent in the welcome email suggested the following amount of activity, a little bit of physical movement to do in week 1 to 3, be active 2 times per week for 30 minutes. Now, that only equals 60 minutes in the week, which does not meet the 150 minutes that's recommended, but we're building to that. We're building. So for people who really don't exercise at all, who don't get any movement in at all, these guidelines here are for you. For those of us, like me, who gets a little bit in more than that, I'm trying to habit stack a little bit. So I'm trying to add on top of an exercise that I might be doing already. I'm trying to add on top of that or add a better habit. So once I know I'm done something, I'm going to make sure I got some protein and a good little meal right after so I can fuel my body up again. So that's some habit stacking. That it doesn't necessarily have to do with the movement part, but a little bit of habit stacking, learning to change my behavior. So in week 4 to 6, they're asking you to be active at least 3 times per week for 30 minutes each time. Week 7 to 9 to be active 4 times per week, 30 minutes each time. And then weeks 10 to 12, be active 5 times per week for 30 minutes each time. And for people who aren't active at all, that might sound like a lot when you're getting into weeks 10 to 12 or even up to week 7, but you can do it. You can do it because what you are doing is training yourself. And repetition is the mother of all skill. You hear me say that all the time. So if we repeat something, we get used to it. We're sending all the signals and messages in our body, in our brain. We can do this. This is what's next. This is what's expected of us now. That's the kind of expectation and training that we're setting up in ourselves, which is always a beautiful thing. So it's a bit of a challenge, but we can do it. I'd love to hear how you guys are going to be moving, whether you're gardening, whether you're playing a little bit more with your kids or your pets, some way for you to get moving. It doesn't have to be, you got to be in the gym. Not everybody's a gym bunny, that's for sure, or a gym bro. So once you visit the website, gov.ky/moveitcayman, as I mentioned, you'll see a calendar of events that gives activities over the islands for the next 12 weeks. They're color-coded, which indicates free or paid. And you should also be able to access a Team Fit app. And there you can set up or join a team. Now, this is where you can track progress. It can connect you with some of your smart devices, like if you have a smartwatch. You can access videos with quick exercise tips. It has challenges for your team, and you can follow other teams' progress. So if you're like, we're going to beat those people over there, let's see what they're doing. You can keep an eye on those other teams. Or you can just track progress on your own. You don't have to track at all if you don't want to. No pressure. Just start to move a little bit. But the thing is, when you are tracking, when you are writing things down, you're kind of holding yourself a little bit accountable. So I do encourage it. I'm not saying you have to do better than the day before, but just tracking it down, because even that little visualization helps you see what you've gained, where you're going, where you've come from. So me, as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing some habit stacking. I used to run a lot. I've stopped running recently, at least in the past year. I don't really know why. So I'm going to try to add 2 30-minute walks per week, not necessarily runs, but walks, just so I can get started again. I don't know if my muscles are going to be like, what are you doing, lady? We're not marathon ready. So I'm going to do that. Hopefully sign up for the gym again. I keep saying that. And interestingly, come Sunday, actually even before Sunday, I saw quite a few offers pop up on social media suddenly, announcing some fitness and wellness package offerings. There's been a bunch of Pilates promotions I've seen. There's been some gym promotions. So I think this is part of when I had representatives from the Ministry of Health when they came in and saying we're partnering with the private sector as well. This isn't just a government initiative, but there's a bunch of businesses out there in Cayman that are going to be offering some specials as part of the Move It Cayman Challenge. And it looks like that's happening. I've been seeing a lot pop up, so I like to see it. Some of these offers are limited, so if you do see them, jump on them, find out the information, and, let's get moving. So that's the Move It Cayman Challenge. Again, gov.ky/Move It Cayman. Sign up. Let's form a team. I need to get a team together. Otherwise, I'm just going to be a team of one. So we got to get a team going, guys. And let me know what you're doing. So in other government news, it was announced yesterday that Cabinet approved amendments to the Customs and Border Control Visas Entry and Landing Regulations 2025 revision to improve border security and traveler screening. The key changes include new visa requirements. Nationals of Peru and Venezuela will now require visas for both entry into and transit through the Cayman Islands. Nationals of Haiti and the Dominican Republic will require in-transit visas when traveling via the Cayman Islands. We have a lot of people from the Dominican Republic here, so that's going to be an interesting one. When it comes to fees, the fees do remain unchanged. However, the schedule of visa fees and extensions is now incorporated into the regulations. There's also new visa exemptions. The amendments introduce specific exemptions to facilitate legitimate travel, including cruise ship passengers completing short-term transfers, those who, within 24 hours of arriving, transfer to another cruise ship, depart on the same vessel, or leave by air. Another exemption includes operational crew members, including commercial airline crew, private jet charter crew, and air ambulance personnel operating on behalf of a recognized health facility. So some of those amendments make perfect sense to me, especially when it comes to visa exemptions for air ambulance personnel. I think some of the new visa requirements, like the in-transit ones, if you're traveling via Cayman, might be a little sticky, especially for those large populations we have here, people from the Dominican Republic specifically, who this visa is going to. It's going to affect. So the revised regulations now term the Customs and Border Control Visas Entry and Landing Amendment Regulations 2026 take effect this Thursday, April 2nd. I am now going to turn to the 8 a.m. news, right on time for the 8 a.m. news. Look at me. But when we come back from the news, we're going to be talking about the RConnect 2026 conference. And then from 9 a.m., I'm going to have some open line as well. I'm going to be talking about some changes in regulation for the fuel sector. That's going to be at 9. But hang out. Stay for the news and then hang out with me from 8:15 to hear about the RConnect 2026 conference.
Since 1976.
Covering Grand Cayman, no Cayman, Cayman right. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Government publishes 2 fresh bills. The Airports Authority Amendment Bill, if passed by MPs in Parliament, will empower approved Cayman Islands Airports Authority officers to do visual inspections of vehicles in designated airport operational zones and control access to those areas. So an approved officer on duty at the airport would be able to stop a car in a designated airport security zone and carry out a visual inspection. If the driver refuses to cooperate, that person can be denied entry to the airport. The approved officer could also detain the person, detain the vehicle, or seize any weapon held in the vehicle. A new section also gives an officer who has reasonable grounds for suspecting that a vehicle, its contents, or anyone inside presents a, quote, risk or threat to airport security, the right to search the vehicle or person without a warrant. Anyone failing to comply with a, quote, lawful order given by an approved officer could face a $5,000 fine or 6 months in prison. The other piece of proposed legislation is the Health Practice Amendment Bill, which would give Cabinet the power to set standards for professional practice that apply to, quote, every registered practitioner. This includes standards like patient consent, prescribing and handling medication, and clinical trials and research. Both bills are online at gov.ky/publications. The Lands and Survey Department releases its 2025 Residential Property Price Index, confirming that Cayman's real estate market remained, quote, broadly stable throughout the year. Here's Radio Cayman's Jeffy Ebanks.
The report also includes the latest annual residential transaction statistics. The National Index for 2025 saw a marginal decline of 1.4% from 2024. Officials say this indicates a steady market flow of several years of growth. District-level performance, however, varied. Georgetown rose by 1.4%. West Bay was the strongest performer, climbing 12.1%. Meanwhile, 7 Mile Beach saw the sharpest decline, falling 11%. Beyond price movements, the department recorded 2,188 residential transactions in 2025. Although the number of transactions dipped slightly, the total value of property exchange rose by 10%, reaching CI $1.36 billion, up from 1.24 the previous year. The average consideration per transaction also increased significantly, rising 14%, from $544,000 to $620,000. Chevy Ebanks, Radio Cayman News.
And consider heading to the Glass House lawn today on your lunch break as the Cayman Ministers Association hosts the National Day of Prayer.
It's an opportunity for the nation, really, to come together and to lift up praises, lift up prayers, concerns to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, to God our Father. It also is an opportunity for the church to be actively praying for the nation together. Yes.
Pastor Kyle McLean with the Cayman Ministers Association invites everyone to join them for today's event, which runs from 12 p.m. to 12:50. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Emily Thomas. Israel's defense minister says Israeli forces will destroy all homes in Lebanese villages adjacent to the Israeli border. Israel Katz said in Lebanon the IDF would keep security control of a wide area up to the Litani River, even once its current conflict with Hezbollah was over. State television in Iran says US-Israeli strikes have damaged a mosque in the northwestern city of Zanjan. It said damage was done to the dome and minarets of the Grand Husseiniya, a hall for Shiite gatherings. The Kuwaiti state-owned oil company has confirmed that a huge fire has been put out in one of its oil tankers that was hit in an overnight Iranian drone attack outside the UAE port of Dubai. All 24 crew members are safe. A new report by the medical charity MSF says rape and sexual violence remain part of everyday life in areas of Sudan. It referred to the most unimaginable brutality detailed in testimony by more than 3,000 victims. Ukraine's foreign minister has accused Hungary of hijacking EU policy by blocking a $100 billion loan to Ukraine. EU foreign ministers are in Kiev discussing further support to Ukraine in the face of cuts by Washington. BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio. Saturday, April 18th, will be the gathering of the future. The gathering of budding scientists, budding botanists, budding engineers, budding medical specialists, marine biologists, systems architects, and much, much more. The Rotary Central Dr. Bill Rudy Science Fair will be at the RConnect Bay, 8 a.m. to 12 noon. The gathering of the future. Students from over 15 schools across Cayman. Save the date, April 18th. The Rotary Central Dr. Bill Rudy Science Fair, sponsored by CUC, supported by the Cayman Motor Federation. Sign up today, rotarysciencefair.ky. The future is sparking.
What matters most to you right now? The cost of living, housing, jobs, healthcare, safety? The Cayman Islands government has set 7 national priorities for 2026 to 2028, focused on areas that affect daily life, from preparing Caymanians for opportunity, to improving quality of life and social stability, to strengthening Cayman's long-term resilience. Learn more about the 7 broad outcomes at gov.ky/priorities. 7 priorities, 1 Cayman.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Brittany, where people come first.
All right, good morning, Cayman. Let's take a look at your latest weather. Getting some overcast conditions on the outside. That is somewhat windy. Synopsis: moderate to fresh winds and rough seas are expected, especially along the eastern and northern coasts, as the pressure gradient remains tight over the northwest Caribbean. A small craft alert is in effect. Moisture embedded within the low-level wind flow can produce a few morning showers, and radar imagery shows some showers to the south and also approaching from the east. Our forecast for today will call for some partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers this morning. Temperatures will rise near the mid-80s. Winds will be east to northeast at 50 to 20 knots with higher gusts. Seas will be rough with wave heights of 6 to 8 feet. A small craft alert is in effect. Small craft should exercise caution over the open waters, especially along the north and east coasts. And within the reef and sheltered areas, conditions are generally less severe, but operators should continue to exercise discretion as localized choppy conditions may still develop. And later tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall near the mid-70s. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts. Seas will be moderate to rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. Again, small craft advisory will be in effect. High tide is coming in this hour at 8:27. It's going to be low at 2:47 this afternoon and high at 9:08 tonight. Sunset later on this evening at 6:38. And the outlook is for a gradual decrease in winds and improvement in sea conditions from tonight as the pressure gradient is expected to slacken. So that's the present conditions. It's presently 79 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds are out of the east-northeast at 9 miles per hour. Relative humidity 77%, and the barometric pressure at 30.03 inches and falling. And my friends, is the latest weather update.
Let's hear it for your Wildcat cheerleaders.
Aunt Angie, weren't you a cheerleader?
The best in the Western Hemisphere, until I attempted that switch kick, double twist roundhouse.
Huh?
Exactly. I must have been in the air for 20 seconds before I fell into that snare drum. I set a world record, though, and thankfully I could trust the CG Medical Portal with my claims. All 37 of them.
The CG Medical Portal. Safe and secure. CG Brittany. Good like that.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Brittany, where people come first.
RC Fusion is proudly brought to you by TCE Paint Shop, Farmers and Artisans Retail Market, and My Canda Cleaners. RC Fusion, weekdays 10 a.m. to 12 midday, right here on Radio Cayman 89.9.
RC Fusion.
Radio Cayman Energy.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
All right, let's focus on the traffic this morning. Things are moving fair to fine. The majority of Cayman until you get into the Georgetown area. Slow-moving traffic on Crew Road. Slow-moving traffic on Bobby Thompson Way and somewhat on the Linford Pearson. And of course, once getting past the traffic lights, traffic is crawling along Huldah Avenue, heading towards the CNB roundabout. Some heading along Elgin Avenue, some continuing along Thomas Russell Way, heading towards the Butterfield roundabout. Expect some slow-moving traffic there. But once getting past the Butterfield roundabout onto the Esley Tibbetts, things starts to flow. Looking down at Crew Road, slow-moving traffic, and then turning towards the airport runway, still moving slow. And then once getting heading in the direction of Roberts Drive, things starts to ease up considerably. Some traffic on the Dorsey Drive, some light traffic on Roberts Drive if you're heading towards the airport. And of course, heading north on the Esley Tibbetts, things starts to move. A little bit of traffic coming off the Esley Tibbetts to the Butterfield roundabout. Most streets in Georgetown take in the influx of traffic. Cheddar Road seems fair to find at the moment. Eastern Avenue, Godfrey Dixon Way. Looking now from the Ritz-Carlton, traffic heading into Georgetown from the West Bay area, moving smoothly. And traffic heading to West Bay itself is similarly. To the four-way stop in West Bay, things are fine. Walkers Road, seeing some light traffic, similar with South Church Street onto Seafarers Way and continuing on to North Church Street and continuing on to West Bay Road. Please, when driving and changing lanes, especially last minute, please use your indicators. Don't just duck in and out of traffic because the person behind you or the next lane may not know. Of course, you don't want to be have someone blowing their horn at you this morning to agitate things even further. So please use your indicators this morning time. Be courteous, be safe, buckle up and stay safe. Look out for those on e-scooters, e-bikes, motorbikes, bicycles, and have yourself a fantastic day. Your traffic report, of course, brought to you by our good friends at Subway.
Craving something new? Dive into Subway's new seafood subs. 3 recipes inspired by the flavors of the coast, including the crunchy seafood bliss, the scrumptious chipotle tuna crunch, and the delicious breaded fish and ranch sub, made with our new breaded fish nuggets. Subway's new seafood subs. 3 recipes made to rock the boat. Only at Subway.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Buzz. You're tuned into your girl, Kathy Miller. We're here on The Buzz talking about the RConnect 2026 conference. It is global reinsurance leaders, regulators, investors, and innovators that will be gathering right here in Grand Cayman this April. And if you're like me and you wonder about the mysterious world of reinsurance, we're going to try and understand it a bit better today. Joining us now to break it all down are Faramarz Romer, Group Chief Financial Officer at Greenlight. Is it RE or RE? RE, Greenlight RE. And Chair of CIRCA, the Cayman Islands International Reinsurance Companies Association. And Brittany Vicar, Associate Director with Cayman Finance. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
No problem. How are you doing today?
Very good. Doing great. Had my coffee. We're ready to go.
Yes, I'm on coffee number 2 right here, or my extended coffee
Early
number 1.
start.
So I feel you. We're going to be on to 5 coffees today, Brittany. That's what a Tuesday is. Well, it's good to have you in studio. We are here to talk about the RConnect 2026 conference. So give us an idea what the conference is all about, and when it's taking place.
Sure. I mean, as the name suggests, RE is usually a short form for reinsurance. So the idea of RConnect is to bring together participants from Cayman as well as all over the world that are involved in the reinsurance sector. And it's a conference that CIRCA started 3 years ago. This is going to be our 3rd year, and it's kind of grown from strength to strength over the last few years. The idea is to really showcase Cayman as a jurisdiction for reinsurance companies that are already established here, as well as those that are looking to come and set up in Cayman. And we have a really exciting number of panels this year over a 2-day period, which has grown from previous years where we've initially started with a one-day conference, and then expanded to a day and a half last year, and now this year it's 2 full days of reinsurance related topics, but also talking about various geopolitical items, talking about the investment side of reinsurance as well, and talking about the regulatory changes that are happening globally on the reinsurance side. So a lot packed into 2 days, but the biggest driver often is the networking opportunities as well. There's a lot of people come here who are either service providers or advisors or asset managers and capital providers that are interested in learning more about Cayman and why is Cayman all of a sudden popping up as a jurisdiction that has attracted a lot of attention. So it's going to be an exciting 2 days. It's on April 16th and 17th coming up in a couple of weeks. It's going to be at the Ritz-Carlton, and we're grateful for the Ritz to be hosting us.
And can I just say, given that my role is to attend a lot of conferences, both internationally and locally, to be able to pull off a 2-day conference in year 3 is incredibly impressive. So to see that growth from a 1 day to a day and a half to two days in 3 years is incredibly impressive, and really the work that goes on behind the scenes, being so intimately involved in it as my role in Cayman Finance, it's very impressive. So just wanted to open up with to congratulate the team for where they've gotten to in 3 years already.
I'd have to say yes. I've been part of conference planning. I know how it goes.
Exactly.
And I am surprised because it is only the 3rd year. So to know that you've gone from the 1-day conference to a day and a half to now 2 days, that is really fast growth in just 3 years. And for me now, this is where you're going to school me, because I introduced the show saying what I think is the mysterious world of reinsurance. I really have no idea what reinsurance is, and like some people, I promise you, and you can definitely school me, I thought it was a scam, because I was like, hold on, insurance, there's insurance. What do you mean there's reinsurance? Why is there reinsurance? So who insures the reinsurers, and how does this keep going? So it's a world I definitely don't understand. So if you could break down, and I know there's people like me, if you could break down what the reinsurance industry is about to help us paint a picture, help us understand what reinsurance is.
Sure, Kathy, you're probably not the only one. There's probably majority of the population probably has either never heard of reinsurance or never quite understood, but yet they keep hearing about it.
Yes.
So reinsurance, in the most simplest sense, is insurance for insurance companies. So when you think about insurance companies that insure your home or your car and your property, they are restricted by the amount of premiums that they can write. The reason being is it's a heavily regulated industry, and the regulators want to make sure that they're always protecting the policyholders, such as the population and the consumers. So the role of the reinsurers is to provide a backup and backing to the insurance companies that are writing all of these policies, because if something really bad and terrible happens, the insurance companies, the premium that they're charging you versus the insured value that they're covering for you, they're not going to have enough funds to pay everyone all at the same time. So one of the roles of the reinsurers is that in an extreme situation like a hurricane, that they can provide that support to the insurance companies. The other role of the reinsurance companies is essentially providing a form of capital to the insurance companies. What that means is regulations will tell the insurance companies that they only write a certain amount of premium based on the amount of capital they have on their books. And by reinsuring out some of the risk that they are taking on, they are able to then grow and write more business. And by doing that, they're able to offer better premiums and more capacity to the public for them to get insurance. Without reinsurance, there won't be enough capital within the insurance market for people like you and me to go and buy policies anywhere and whenever we want, especially when the population is growing.
Okay, interesting. Thank you for that
Sure.
breakdown there. We also have a reputation in captive insurance, and I feel like you were starting to somewhat describe captive insurance, at least from the little that I know. Again, for people like me who don't know what captive insurance is, can you break that down?
Yeah, so look, Cayman has always been one of the largest domiciles for captive reinsurers. There's a separate conference that the Insurance Managers Association of Cayman hosts every year in December. They've been doing that for I think years. Probably 20, 30 years, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And that's grown, and that's a very, very successful conference as well. And it's one of the largest captive conferences in Cayman, in the world.
Yes. About 1,500 delegates attend that one.
Wow.
Yes. So what captive insurance is if you think about a large corporation, for example, I won't take any names, but let's take a large corporation and it has its own risks. And rather than it going out and buying its own insurance policies, it will form a small insurance company of its own, and that insurance company is a captive because it's just taking the insurance off that related party and covering itself. So they're self-funding essentially their own insurance risk, and when you think about the some of the companies that the amount of insurance that they're paying and they never make a claim, for them it's beneficial to have those premiums within that group organization overall, so that if there's a large event once every 10 years, once every 15 years, they have the funds in that entity to then pay off the claim. But at the same time, if no event happens, then they are keeping all of those premiums themselves, essentially. But that's also a regulated sector. So, Cayman Islands Monetary Authority is heavily regulating or, keeping an eye on all the captives that are set up here. I think there's over 700 captives that are formed and based in Cayman. And then, the other side that I explained earlier is what we call the commercial reinsurers. So you've got the captives and then you've got the commercial reinsurers. And in the recent years, we've seen this growth in more interest in the commercial reinsurance side of Cayman as well. So it's good to see both sides of reinsurance growing in Cayman.
And how they both tie in together. Why do captive insurance need reinsurance? Does that make sense?
Sometimes, no, that makes total sense, Kathy.
And you're asking the questions that the listeners want, or probably asking the exact same question, right?
Well, I'm trying to set the scene here. So
absolutely.
There's some overlap. There certainly is some overlap. So, a captive reinsurer, let's say an organization sets up their own insurance company here, even they might want to get reinsurance. So, captives can then reinsure their risk to a third-party commercial reinsurer as well. So there certainly is an overlap. And then some of the captives over time may decide that they want to take on third-party business as well. So they may evolve into a commercial reinsurer over time as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very technical, but I'm trying to explain it in as simple way as I can.
You are. So for the companies that are using the captive insurance structures, and they're also getting reinsurance to manage bigger risks, I guess. Can you reinsure through more than one service provider? Does my question make sense there?
Yes.
Okay.
You can go to any number of reinsurers.
Okay.
In fact, most companies, they do want to diversify their counterparty risk. So they don't want all eggs in one basket. Right. So they will give a portion to one reinsurance company and another to another reinsurance company.
It depends on their strategy, I guess, yeah.
So what makes Cayman such a booming place for captive and now reinsurance industries?
Maybe I'll touch on that. I think there's a number of things. I think Faramarz can definitely go into more of the technical aspects, which he's already alluded to. And there's a panel on this, which I think lends very well to my role at Cayman Finance. The strength of the reinsurance industry is supported by the strength of every other sector that we have grown over the last, since the 60s, since financial services industry emerged. And when you think about things like our regulatory framework and what that means and the authority and their role that they play within the financial services ecosystem, when you think about our government administration and the role that the Ministry of Financial Services and Commerce plays in guiding and being that strategic leader in how we are placed in the marketplace. And then when you think about our world-class our service providers that are experts in this field, they're not experts in just reinsurance. We're talking about back in the 60s, 70s, the growth of the funds business. We are the global leader in the fund space, over 30,000 registered funds in Cayman. A lot of the service providers that are now in the insurance and reinsurance space, some of those individuals came to the Cayman Islands, decades ago, coming into the fund space. And these are lawyers, insurance managers, reinsurers, accountants, bankers that have been in the industry for a number of years. And that expertise is now just supporting not a new sector, it's supporting one of our many sectors that we have across 7 various sectors within the financial services ecosystem. So I think when we talk about why Cayman, there are some very notable technical reasons why. But for the average listener, and when you're trying to understand why this is important, it's because of the strength of our legal and regulatory framework that has really allowed us to thrive. And people want to be here. People want to work here. I think one of the things that I hear often at these conferences and why we really promote not only the conference, but to come here. We can go overseas and we can go to New York and have the same message. We can go to Miami. We can go on the West Coast. But we want you to come here. We want you to fly on Cayman Airways. We want you to have your rum punch. We want you to stay at the Ritz-Carlton. We want you to, go to our beaches. We want you to run into the average Caymanian that works at Cayman Bay. We want you to see our infrastructure. And I think by having this conference and bringing people here, you're easily able to answer the question, why Cayman, very quickly.
Okay. I like that, Brittany. You've answered that question several times. You had that in your pocket, right? I love it. Okay. So let's turn back to the RConnect 2026 conference here. This is what we're really about to be speaking about, right?
Everybody knows what reinsurance is.
Yes,
exactly.
You did well with that. Thank you. So we have a bit of an idea. So why are conferences like this, why are they good for the industry and for Cayman? I mean, we are attracting some people here, so I know that right there.
Look, I think as we think about companies coming and establishing themselves here, a conference like this brings in people from places who have never visited Cayman before. Over the last couple of years, the number of attendees has been generally split, close to 50-50 between people from Cayman and people coming from overseas. And the number of people that came from overseas over the last couple of years, and we talked to them during the conference, they're amazed by what they're seeing. They have a vision or a perception of Cayman, which is very different to when they actually arrive. And they're amazed by the infrastructure. They're amazed by, the amenities, the development, the ease of how easy it is to arrive on a small island in the Caribbean and get from the airport to the hotel very efficiently, check in at the hotel. The beaches obviously are world renowned, so people kind of do expect the beaches to be nice. But just seeing the level of interaction between the participants at the conference as well, they're amazed at how a small island like ours has attracted world-class talent from service providers and interest. And then that translates into benefits for our hospitality and tourism sector. A lot of people that come for the conference, we intentionally have the conference on a Thursday and a Friday.
Yes.
So people stay the weekend. They're staying at the hotels and they're going to the restaurants.
Maybe, yeah.
They are bringing often their families and spouses and, really enjoying the island as well. So that helps our tourism and hospitality sector as well. And then it also helps the professional services sector. There's a number of firms in Cayman that serve the reinsurance companies in the industry, and for them, it's an opportunity to meet with the clients, meet with the advisors, meet with potential prospects. Often a number of business deals are being signed when people are here. And it also gives an opportunity for people to come here and meet with our regulators. So during the conference, we have dedicated rooms specifically for people to arrange meetings with the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority staff on the insurance division. So, it's an all-in 2 days of meetings, but then it extends beyond that. Some people come all year. A number of service providers have been contacting us saying, we're going to be here from Monday, Tuesday, if you want to meet with us. So it's almost a week-long event now. And while the conference itself is 2 days, it's adding to Cayman's growth and economic development.
I feel like there's a lot of deals that might be coming out of this conference, and we got to go to commercial break right now. So when we come back, we're going to talk about the agenda, the speakers, the panels, which Brittany, I know you're moderating one, you mentioned. And I guess we're going to hear about some trends in that reinsurance, which I wouldn't know anything about that. So I'm relying on you two for sure. So let's take our first commercial break and we'll be back in a couple minutes.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Good news for babies. The updated national immunization schedule now includes an important improvement to the hexavalent vaccine, protecting babies against 6 serious diseases, including hepatitis B. Hep B can cause lifelong liver problems, including cancer and cirrhosis. Your baby will get the shots at 2, 4, and 6 months, with a booster at 18 months. Vaccination trains the immune system to fight against infections and keep the community healthy. Talk to your doctor about the updated vaccine schedule today. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health, Environment and Sustainability and the Public Health Department.
Social media, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Interact with our talk shows on YouTube. Download our official Radio Cayman app, or you can log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio Cayman. The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
We do have loyal listeners, Brittany. Thank you. We do. And actually, the show is booming as well. So we are back on The Buzz here, and I am your host, Kathy Miller. We are talking about the RConnect 2026 conference, and you just heard Brittany Vicar, Associate Director with Cayman Finance, say that we do have loyal listeners, and we do indeed. Also in studio, I have Faramarz Romer. He's the Group Chief Financial Officer at Greenlight Right? Yes. And also the chair of the Cayman International Reinsurance Companies Association, aka CIRCA. I'll be calling it CIRCA from here on. All right, so the agenda for RConnect 2026. It's April 16th and 17th, I think, right? At the Ritz-Carlton?
16th and 17th, yes.
So let us know what's on the agenda.
Yeah, look, we have, as I mentioned earlier, 2 full days of packed agenda with we got about 9 panel speakers sessions and 2 keynote speakers, in total close to 45 speakers. And to put together an agenda like that takes a small army, and we have a dedicated team of volunteers, I must add, who have been working day and night ever since the end of the last year's conference to put together the panels and the sessions and the topics and finding the speakers. And it's a big jigsaw puzzle to put together and bring it all to fruition. So, my thanks to the steering committee for RConnect that has put in a lot of hours and time. So, in terms of your question, we've got, as I mentioned, 9 different panels, one of which, in fact, the first panel is going to be moderated by Brittany. So maybe, Brittany, I'll turn over to you to maybe talk a little bit about your panel.
And Brittany,
and then we'll talk about some of the others.
Before you start, I'm going to give you your flowers because what I've seen from you, at least in this past year, there's been, you're professional, yes, but there's been so much just growth from you and what I've seen you out there and what you're doing in your industry and just trying to make the financial industries a very attractive place for everybody to know about Cayman.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
I love seeing you out here.
Thank you.
Love hearing what you're going to do. And I'm proud to see that you're doing stuff like moderating these kind of panels and stepping into a bit of a different role for you as well. It's awesome to see.
I really, really appreciate that. And I know the last time I was here in my kind of Cayman Finance community hat, which lends very well to how we'll kind of wrap up today's discussion. But what's really great about RConnect and how they've split it up is day one is really kind of a discover Cayman. As Faramarz mentioned, when our delegates are coming to Cayman, we want them to obviously get the technical content, but we also want to ensure that any potential question they have is answered. And not all questions might be technical. Some people are in the phase of their life cycle where they are moving to Cayman. They're setting up operations. They're bringing families. They have, quite logistical questions. But also, also people have questions just around how did we get here? And so I think before we get into reinsurance, what that means, the trends, and get into the nitty-gritty technical, we really want to take a step back and set the scene, as I think we chatted about earlier, set the scene. And the best way to do that is to tell our story. And our story is that our history around financial services is not from the 20s, the 2000s. This is back to 1960s when our first set of legislation was enacted. And so to be able to tell our story and the evolution of not only our financial services ecosystem, but what we're known for, and to use that as our strength for how we are not only equipped to see this industry grow, but we have all the right players. We have the appropriate regulatory framework, the authority to support that. But most importantly, as I always say, the best way to promote Cayman is to hear it from those that live and breathe it. And so when we're promoting Cayman, sure, we can have brochures and we can go and sell the business. But the best way to do that is to hear it from those that are servicing our clients. And so we're going to have it within this panel, an excellent panel of experts across the fund space, captive insurance, and then reinsurance space. That's why I'm glad that you asked kind of those priming questions, because we're going to be able to see our evolution from kind of really early stages in the funds industry, which I mentioned earlier. Now we see 30,000 funds being registered here in the Cayman Islands, and how we are a global leader in that space and what that means, to now talking a little bit about how did that lend itself well to the captive insurance space, and then why are we here? Why do we have a conference designed around reinsurance? What are the trends that we're seeing, which now will then prime it very nicely to the other, I think, 8 or so panels and presentations that we'll have throughout the day. And these are all names that everyone knows and loves. These are very respected and key service providers within the industry as well.
No pressure leading the first panel.
Right? Everyone's going to be ready to go. Their second cup of coffee like you, Kathy. So we're going to have them right where we want them. It'll be great. We're excited.
I think you'll be a great person to at least start leading the panels. So.
I'm just naturally bubbly, right? So I feel like I'll get everyone ready to go for the second panel. It'll be great.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, they'll be like, okay, this is the energy I got to have. Let's bring it.
Exactly.
I think you're a good starting point for sure. I'd never asked about the theme for the conference. Is there a theme or themes surrounding it?
Yeah, look, I think as Brittany mentioned, we wanted to have day one to be about Cayman and people that are new to Cayman, new to the industry or new to the jurisdiction, to set the stage on that front. And then the second day is a little bit more about the various different trends within the reinsurance sector and the industry. So we can be talking about private assets and asset managers growing in this space. We're going to talk about artificial intelligence and innovative ways through which people are using reinsurance. We're going to be talking about geopolitics. We have a economist and a geopolitical advisor on the panel coming from the U.S. to talk on that panel as well. And then in addition to that, we're going to have, I think we have 2 panels where members of the Monetary Authority are also going to be panelists. And then we have another panel that talks about, you have a panel full of chief investment officers that are serving in this space and assisting their clients in the reinsurance side. So, there's a theme of, okay, what's all the different things that are happening, not just within Cayman, but globally. So, day 1 is Cayman, day 2 is global.
Yeah, and I believe the tagline is where global reinsurance connects. So, I think it's a play on words, but I think to answer, to echo what Faramarz said, is you have all the right players, key players within the industry, the regulator, the ministry, and service providers coming together or reconnecting through networking, through panels. And I think just also on the day 1 point, another kind of echoing what Faramarz said earlier, outside of the panels, it's also an opportunity to see the island. So the conference organizers have also curated opportunities to see the island, whether it's through the catamaran cruise, whether it's through golf, whether it's through opportunities to explore Camana Bay, who is one of our premium sponsors, etc. It's not just staying within the conference space. It's actually getting out there, and the conference organizers are actually encouraging that.
It really is about discovering Cayman.
It is.
I like it. It's kind of, in a sense, an open house per se. It's a conference, but look what we have here for you and how you can build here. So it's very twofold for me when I look at it, and I think that's quite brilliant.
Yeah, it's not all work. There's some fun in there involved as well, right? So
we're a fun group, I think.
Brittany will bring the fun.
Sure.
This much I know, that's for sure. So we mentioned a little bit about the agenda, but what about you mentioned there's 2 keynote speakers, there's other speakers that are going to be there. Tell us about the speakers that are coming.
Yeah, I'm really excited about our keynote speaker. Obviously, our first keynote speaker is Honorable Andre Ebanks, our Premier and Minister of Financial Services and Commerce. He's gonna kick off. He always does an amazing job presenting and being a keynote speaker for us. So we're grateful for him attending and speaking. And then we also have at the end of the conference, the last session is to top it up by a fireside chat with CEO of the Monetary Authority, Mrs. Cindy Scotland. And that's going to be a good opportunity for people to listen to what's happening at the Monetary Authority in this space and just in general. So, really excited about those 2 keynote speakers. And then in addition to that, as I mentioned, there's 9 panel and discussions and speakers throughout the 2-day period as well.
Okay. I feel like you could give me a little bit more on some of the speakers that are coming.
Yeah, look.
Maybe we got to come to the conference to see a bit more.
Stay tuned.
Hey, tickets are on sale at reconnect.ky if anyone's interested. And there's a discounted price if you buy 5 or more. So bring your whole team.
I'm excited to hear that Miss Cindy Scotland will also be one of the keynote speakers because she is such a figure in financial services here. And I don't always hear from her. I feel like we don't always hear from her in the community. She's a little quieter, under the radar per se, I want to say. So maybe not necessarily in your industry, but I would love to see more of her out there. So I love to see that she is going to be on one of your keynote speakers and in a fireside chat as well.
And I think what's great about this conference, again, we've, within the industry, we all travel and attend various conferences. And I think what Cayman does really well is we really are collaborative in our spirit, in our effort, in principle and otherwise. And it's incredible to see the Premier and the Minister for Financial Services and the leader of the regulatory authority speak so candidly at a conference and want to be there and want to share their insights and to collaborate with associations like CIRCA. And you don't always see that at conferences, to have such profound government and regulatory leadership. So I think that in itself, having those two representatives as keynote speakers is impressive, and it really further solidifies our credibility within the space. But also that this is not only important to Cayman Finance, CIRCA, IMAC, and all the other associations that support CIRCA in this conference. It's important to the government and it's important to the regulator as well. And I think the two keynote speakers represent that.
Absolutely, I agree. I mean, the financial services is definitely the Premier's industry. This is his passion. This is where his career grew.
Correct, yeah.
So, and he definitely has so much influence. And there's a lot of movement that he's trying to make to improve the financial industries, as is for Cayman. So love to see it. I want to ask, out of the leaders that you're bringing to Cayman, what kind of conversations are going to happen here that you hope will actually shape decisions globally?
Yeah, look, we actually have a panel that we're going to be talking about climate resiliency, and that, climate change and the impact of climate on risks and jurisdictions globally is becoming a pretty hot topic, right? The storms that we're seeing and the catastrophic events that we're seeing, they're just getting stronger over the last years, and over the last 5 years, the industry has seen more than $100 billion worth of insured losses each year from these types of catastrophic events. So what's happening is globally, and this is something that reinsurance can help with, is we've seen the premiums go up on homeowners policies and mainly, in the U.S., but then it affects Cayman as well.
This hugely affects Cayman.
It does, because all of our rates and insurance rates are tied to the Florida and the U.S. Jurisdiction domicile. So if they're suffering, we're suffering. And the reason they're suffering oftentimes is because of lack of capacity. And what that means is there aren't enough reinsurers, and there isn't enough capital providing to the insurers to offer some of the coverage that's needed. So that's what in the U.S. and globally we call protection gap. There's lack of availability, which is causing affordability of insurance and reinsurance. So this panel is going to talk about the climate resiliency impact and what are some of the innovative things companies and countries are doing to alleviate some of the stress on the premiums and the cost of providing the protection for insurance companies and then for the policyholders at the end of the day. So I'm really excited about that panel for it's one of the things that I think people will walk away with a better appreciation for what is happening globally and how it's impacting just the daily lives of everyone, and where reinsurance plays a role amongst all of that.
Ooh, I want to get into that a little bit deeper. We got to take our final commercial break, and then I want to touch on those points that you just mentioned, especially geopolitically, what's going on, and climate change, just kind of the trends that are happening in reinsurance right now. We're going to get into that a little bit after the break.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
What matters most to you right now? The cost of living, housing, jobs, healthcare, safety? The Cayman Islands government has set 7 national priorities for 2026 to 2028, focused on areas that affect daily life, from preparing Caymanians for opportunity to improving quality of life and social stability, to strengthening Cayman's long-term resilience. Learn more about the 7 broad outcomes at gov.ky/priorities. 7 priorities, 1 Cayman.
Celebrating 50 years of broadcasting in the Cayman Islands.
50 years of music.
This is Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
50 years of life. We are the rhythm of the city.
Radio Cayman.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are talking about the RConnect 2026 conference. And in studio with me, I have Faramarz Romer, Group Chief Financial Officer from Greenlight Re and Chair of CIRCA, and we have Brittany Vicar, Associate Director with Cayman Finance. We were just hearing a little bit about what some of the topics, especially on the panel, when it comes to climate change, how we hope that people will walk away from some information on that and how we can really apply it in our daily lives here. What's happening in the reinsurance industry when it comes to climate change. And I think that really hits Cayman in particular because, we have our hurricanes. We just saw extreme weather events globally. Our neighbors, Jamaica, got hit with one of the worst hurricanes in history. So we saw, and that was supposed to be coming to us.
That was a close call.
Yes. It was a very close call. So happy it didn't come to us. Feel so bad for Jamaica. We saw wildfires at alarming rates. Palisades and Malibu burnt down in California last year. So how is climate change changing how risk is priced, I guess, in the reinsurance market? What do we need to be aware of as consumers?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of focus now on, how do we protect ourselves, right? There's, when the wildfires happen in California, for example, a number of home builders have now found ways to build homes that maybe can withstand some of the fires or have some kind of a mitigation plan for avoiding, the level of damage that happened. There's also now a lot more focus on, for example, in Florida, and some other states, some of the biggest damage that they're seeing is from hail and roof damage. So, communities and governments and states are now focused on providing incentives to homeowners to have reinforced roofs and ensuring that the building codes are brought up to improved so that damage from hail is limited. The other area where climate change is now creating opportunities for certain people is where so some of the law firms and home builders are going to homeowners, knocking on their doors and saying, we've seen from aerial footage through a drone that your roof is damaged. And here's a picture, and if you give us your insurance policy, we'll fix your roof for it. And usually there's either a fraudulent video or it's an altered video. So homeowners think that they have roof damage when they don't really have a roof damage, and then they end up assigning their insurance policy over to the roof builder, who then just charges the insurance company. So there's a lot of insurance fraud that's now perpetuating because of some of the climate change related perceived damages as well. So, governments in Florida especially have now created reforms in their rules and regulations to mitigate and curtail some of that fraudulent behavior. So we're seeing a lot of focus from regulators and governments to help the homeowners be more aware of some of these practices and mitigate the amount of claims that are being placed with the insurance companies, who then have to pass it on to the reinsurance companies, who then charge higher premiums to the insurance companies, that then gets passed on to the homeowner. So there are a number of these factors that are in play, and some states have done this very successfully, and we're trying to see how Cayman can benefit from that as well, because we're so closely tied to the U.S. We have started seeing rates come down. I think people should be able to see some of their premium rates come down this year compared to last year. One, because the U.S. did not get hit by a hurricane in 2025. And, if we have a few more years of that, the rates will start coming back down.
But Faramarz, I hate to bring this up, but for the person that is in charge of the U.S. right now and the decisions that they're making, we could be seeing some strikes against the U.S. I'm just saying these are possibilities.
Yes, the geopolitical risk is certainly real, and the industry is closely watching that. There are certain, usually certain policies will exclude war and terrorism related claims, but there's a lot of uncertainty globally right now, and let's hope and pray that the cooler heads prevail, and we all live in a more
safer
and happier environment.
Yeah, hopefully. But these are some of the trends that you'll be talking about at the conference.
And there's a panel, as I mentioned, on geopolitics and economic advisor and economists coming in talking about the changing world order and what does that mean? Is it temporary? Is it longer term? So yes, we'll leave you with that teaser to come and listen to the panel at RConnect.
Should be very, very interesting, actually. There's a lot of interesting things going on, so I see how this all ties in together. Okay.
And I think
you're selling me on it.
Yeah, so. And I just think overall as well, some great technical panels, but when you're thinking of the average listener this morning, I think Faramarz explained it very well on how all of this ties back home, and to know that you have an association as part of the broader ecosystem that is trying to find solutions to this, to this protection gap, and is working with the onshore regulators and individuals within the U.S. to see what's working well for them, see what's working well for some of these coastal states, and are there policies or initiatives that we can be implementing as well. So I think if anything, I'm hoping our listeners can see the work that's happening kind of behind the scenes, that from an education standpoint, what's happening, but also more importantly, what does that mean for Cayman? And we are working very closely with the government, whether that's the various ministries and the regulator, to see what these opportunities could look like for Cayman. So it's not all just about financial services. These do have broader implications for the average Caymanian homeowner.
And what I love about this conversation is that my perception of reinsurance has changed.
Mission accomplished.
Hopefully for the better.
Yes, for the better. Absolutely for the better. I'd be like, reinsurance? Who wants to be in insurance? But I'm a creative marketing person. So this is me. This is different, right? But I completely understand. I get the nuances. It's very, very interesting from what you've shared so far. So
yeah, look, that's
my
one
perception
of
has changed for
one of the missions for CIRCA is to help educate our youth in understanding what is reinsurance, what does a career in reinsurance look like. So we're going to career fairs, we're going to colleges and high schools here. We're hosting these events called Reinsurance Insights that provides some of that insights to the younger people in Cayman to say, hey, you don't have to choose reinsurance as an education path, but if you study math, you study actuarial science, you can study data analysis, there's jobs in claims handling, there's jobs way outside what you normally think about finance and financial services when you get into the reinsurance sector. We're offering internships, scholarships, because we truly believe that reinsurance sector has the potential of creating a lot of jobs for Caymanians in the future, jobs that are currently maybe a little bit too senior for the talent that we have. If we cultivate that talent in Cayman, get them ready down the line to take on those positions. And we've had really good examples of people that started at Greenlight many years ago as brand new to the reinsurance sector. Now that one person is a CFO of a reinsurance company that recently set up in Cayman. So some really good success stories coming out of it.
That's pretty amazing. You might get my resume. I'm just joking.
I had a reinsurance 101
to my boss who listened.
When you're not on the buzz. Yeah.
But really interesting. I love how you broke it down and how you have definitely changed my perception. I know, as Brittany mentioned, it takes a lot of hard work. There's a lot of partners to make this conference happen. If you can tell us who you're in partnership with.
Yeah, look, we're really grateful for our largest sponsors, our premium sponsors. That's Camana Bay, and DART, Cayman Finance, and the Ministry of Financial Services and Commerce. So, all local vested, interested parties that are supporting this reinsurance conference, which is really amazing to see. Then we also have some really what we call the Gold Plus sponsors who have really stepped up. They are Grant Thornton, here based in Cayman, Knighthead Re, which is a large life annuity reinsurance company in Cayman, New England Asset Management, which is an asset manager, and then American Reinsurance with Neuberger and Berman. So, we really appreciate all the support. In addition to those, we have, a total of 40 other sponsors that have helped bring this conference to Cayman and allow us to showcase the jurisdiction for we're expecting over 650 maybe
in year 3.
Last year we had 600. We're expecting close to 750 people this year attending this conference. So awesome. It's grown very, very quickly in 3 years, and it's thanks to all these sponsors.
I love it, and all the work behind it, and a growing industry for sure.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to get more information, I would say go to the website, which is RConnect.ky. The conference is April 16th, 17th at the Ritz-Carlton. The tickets are on sale, and you can see the entire agenda with the speakers and the panelists on the website at RConnect.ky.
Perfect way to end, right on time at 9 a.m. I know you're a numbers guy because of that. Thank you so much for joining me on The Buzz this morning, breaking down the reinsurance and captive insurance industries a little bit, telling us about the ReConnect 2026 conference, and painting a picture of how the industry is going to grow, hopefully in Cayman as well.
Great. Thank you so much for having us.
No
Appreciate
problem
that.
at all. We got to go to the 9 a.m. headline news, and then going to have some open line next.
This is the People's Radio Station. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
The Department of Agriculture's Animal Protection and Enforcement Unit continues its efforts to support animals across the community. In February, the unit saw 1 animal adoption, hosted 3 community outreach events, microchipped 8 pets, issued 30 dog licenses, and was actively investigating 25 cases. There were 44 animals impounded in February. In international news, U.S. President Donald Trump has lashed out at the United Kingdom and other countries, telling them to, quote, go get your own oil from the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, a Kuwaiti oil tanker carrying millions of barrels of crude oil has been hit near Dubai, with officials blaming Iran for the strike. The 24 crew aboard are safe, and the blaze is reportedly under control. New strikes and interceptions are reported in Israel, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates, with multiple people injured from falling debris in Dubai. In 5 weeks of war, thousands of people have been killed, the vast majority in Iran and Lebanon. And the average price of gas at the pump in the United States has topped $4 for the first time in nearly 4 years as the Iran war continues to push up fuel prices. The national average for a gallon of regular gasoline is now $4.02, more than $1 higher than it was when the war began, according to AAA Motoring Organization. The price of diesel is also around $1.70 higher. The effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz, a key waterway for the past month, has meant the production and transportation of energy across the Middle East has slowed or stopped entirely. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Radio Cayman. More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
At HSA, we strive to provide the highest standard of care with compassion, integrity, and dedication. And so we say thank you, Cayman, for continuing to make us the most awarded organization on island by voting us the best of Cayman Islands in 9 medical categories. Your support reminds us why we do what we do, to serve the Cayman community with kindness and excellence. To find out more about our award-winning services, visit hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or belly fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are in the last about 25 minutes or so of the show. And again, we got some open line. So I'm welcoming your calls, your thoughts, what's going on with you. What do you want to talk about? Y'all listen to me. I don't always get a lot of phone calls or WhatsApp text telling me what's on your mind or what you're thinking about. So I'm encouraging you. Give me a call. It's usually when we have like the really, really certain hot topics that get people's blood going. I'll hear from you. But I'd just like to hear from you anyways. Okay, the numbers to call are 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp text or WhatsApp call me on 925-3261. When I began the show, I gave the congrats to Swanky Kitchen Band because they have their first official music video. Just go to YouTube, search Swanky Kitchen Band. You should be able to see that music video. Again, it's an Easter celebration, Easter on the beach, a very Cayman traditional thing to do. It's Miss Paula's tent, and it's just full of Caymanians enjoying their time on the beach for Easter. And again, shout out to Jevy Ebanks, Radio Cayman's own Jevy, because he has a part in this video. Love to see it. I also spoke about the Move It Cayman Challenge, which kicked off officially on Sunday. It's a 12-week challenge just to get people to start moving a little bit more. We know that our population, 70% of us are overweight or obese, and 97% of us will develop a non-communicable disease in our lifetime. So we can avoid those things because non-communicable diseases are very much in our control. Besides genetic factors that can lead you to disease, besides that, there are other risk factors that we are in control of. So we're trying to get Cayman a little bit more active, a little bit more aware, a little bit more mindful, and empowered with what to do and how to get better and how to hopefully avoid getting a non-communicable disease in your life. So sign up for the challenge at gov.ky/MoveItCayman. I'm telling you already, twice I've seen Paul get up and do his air squats. He's been doing the air squats almost on the hour, so I'm proud of him. I feel like, okay, I influenced somebody a little bit with a moving hack. So way to go, Paul. Hopefully all the announcers here will jump on this trend here, Sometimes you just got to do something and people see you doing it and they take part, right? You just got to start the movement. So now I'm going to turn to changes in regulation for the fuel sector. There is a press release that came out, and I guess if time allows, I can read the press release. But let's get into my summary here. So also announced yesterday was that government has approved the drafting of new laws to overhaul how Cayman's fuel sector is regulated. Now that's something that affects every single one of us. Whether you're filling up your tank, you're running a business, or you're just trying to manage the cost of living, fuel is a factor. Government has just announced a major reform, and not to fuel prices directly, although we'd like to see it, but there is, that war going on. What's going on with Iran and the U.S. here that is also affecting fuel prices, or will be very soon. So this is all about how the entire fuel sector is regulated. And right now, Cayman's fuel system is split. Licensing is handled by the Department of Commerce and Investment, while regulation, things like pricing oversight, safety inspections, and compliance, that sits with the Utility Regulation and Competition Office, ERCO. So essentially, 2 different bodies and 1 industry. Now, government is trying to say that that setup has created some inefficiencies, there's gaps in oversight, and there's even funding challenges within the regulatory system. So now they want to bring everything under one roof with ERCO. If this does go through, ERCO would issue licenses, enforce pricing rules, monitor safety, and oversee compliance. But the big thing there is issuing licenses. Government says that this will lead to more transparent fuel pricing. I'd like to see how. Better safety standards, less red tape for businesses. Agreed. And a stronger, more resilient fuel supply, especially in emergencies. Now, if you look globally, it isn't unusual to have a single authority handle everything from licensing to compliance. So there's countries like the UK, Australia, and Singapore. Their energy and fuel sectors are typically regulated by a single authority. Right now, Cayman has 2. So yes, bringing licensing and regulation together could tighten things up for Cayman. It could make things speedier and definitely more efficient. But my question is, at what cost? That's a question we all should be asking. At what cost will this be to the consumers? Because when talking about a self-sustaining regulatory model, which is mentioned in the press release that I'll read a little later, that means that ERCO would receive all of the revenue from their customer base, not government. And if we're moving licensing responsibilities to ERCO, I assume that means they will need to make new hires to handle the new workload, so more salaries, higher operating expenses, which makes me ask how this could trickle down to consumers. Because more operating expenses means they're going to have to pass those fees on to their clients. And again, those businesses will have to pass those fees on to their clients, which is ultimately us, the consumer. Now, does this give ERCO too much power without enough checks and balances? Are there enough checks and balances? So, in taking a closer look at what ERCO would be doing, they wouldn't just be regulating anymore, as mentioned, they'd be issuing licenses. And I'm understanding that is for fuel importers, storage facilities, distributors, gas stations, and those licenses wouldn't just be administrative, they'd be tied directly to pricing rules, safety standards, environmental compliance, and more. So it becomes a much tighter system. It's all kind of under one roof, being watched, being regulated. And here's another bigger question, and this might be a little dramatic in my thinking, but is this just about fuel? Or is this the beginning of something a little larger? Because ERCO already regulates telecommunications, electricity. So if this model works for fuel, if they're going to be doing the licensing process at ERCO now instead of the DCI doing the licensing process, if this model will work for fuel, do we eventually see all utility licensing brought under one regulator? Am I being dramatic in thinking that or in asking that? It's just a thought. And how does all of this benefit the ordinary person? Those are my questions for you. What are your thoughts? Give me a call. Let me know. What do you think about this move? Numbers to call are 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or you can WhatsApp call or WhatsApp text me at 925-3261. At the end of the day, I think when you ask people what their main concerns are, I think the cost of living trumps regulation. Yes, things need to be regulated. We need to make sure things are being done properly, as they said they would be, in all fairness and all ethics. But when it really comes down to it, the cost of living trumps regulation. It trumps processes. So if this will affect fuel prices negatively, my questions are, how will it make fuel more affordable, if at all? Because they're suggesting this will make fuel more affordable. How will it make pricing more transparent? How will it improve reliability, especially in times of crisis? Fuel touches everything from groceries to electricity to doing business. It is very much a part of our everyday lives. Give me a call. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what's on your mind. What do you think about it? 1-800-534-8255. You can WhatsApp us on 925-3261. You can also just WhatsApp your thoughts and let us know. I'm going to take us to the commercial break right now. When I come back, I think I might read that press release to you, unless anybody wants to share their ideas, their thoughts with me. But other than that, we can get into the press release about the fuel regulation next.
On Angie, how does it feel to have broken the bull riding world record?
Sore, Sean. That bull was angry.
Angie, I think that bull is headed towards your red convertible.
I broke the world record and he broke my car. Oh well, at least I've got CG Comprehensive Motor to cover this.
Get covered for collision, damage, and more. CG Brittany. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
Celebrating 50 years of broadcasting in the Cayman Islands. This is Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller. That was a real quick little break right there, but Paul said it's going to be a real quick break. Are you guys doing your 10 air squats? Did you take that time to do your 10 air squats? That's part of the Move It Cayman challenge that I'm challenging everybody. Do your 10 air squats on the hour or within the hour, every hour, while you're at work. Easy peasy. That'll take you no more than 20 seconds. Unless your knees are really bad. And it takes you a while to bend down and come back up. But I know how to oil that for you. Don't worry about it. You'll get used to it. So I mentioned that I will get to the press release that government put out just yesterday, and it's titled Government to Strengthen Fuel Sector Regulation. You can find this press release at gov.ky and go to their news section. It was just released yesterday. And it reads, the government has approved drafting instructions to strengthen oversight of the Cayman Islands fuel sector, advancing reforms that will enhance public safety, improve consumer protection, and establish a more sustainable regulatory framework. This major reform will consolidate fuel sector licensing and regulatory authority under the Utility Regulation and Competition Office, ERCO, transferring licensing responsibilities from the Department of Commerce and Investment, the DCI, to create a single, accountable regulator with clear authority for oversight, compliance, and enforcement. Premier, the Honorable Andre Ebanks, said, by placing oversight responsibility where it is most effectively managed, government will significantly enhance its ability to ensure that our fuel sector delivers what Caymanians depend on: reliable, better regulated fuel supply for families, businesses, and essential services. This is yet another long-standing unaddressed matter that our NCFC government seeks to transform as part of our vision for a stronger, fairer Cayman for our people. End quote. Strengthening oversight and eliminating fragmentation. Currently, fuel sector licensing is administered by the DCI as part of its general business licensing function, while ERCO is responsible for the full scope of regulatory oversight, including safety inspections, compliance monitoring, and price tracking across more than 400 regulated sites. This separation has resulted in fragmented authority, operational inefficiencies, and a structural funding gap within ERCO's fuel division. Under the approved framework, licensing and regulation will be consolidated under ERCO, allowing for clear and enforceable licensing conditions aligned with pricing rules, safety and environmental standards, improved market oversight and competition monitoring, a streamlined single point of contact for fuel sector operators, and a sustainable funding structure to support effective long-term regulation that benefits consumers and the country. Benefits for the public and industry. The changes are expected to deliver tangible benefits across the Cayman Islands, including enhanced public safety at fuel storage and service facilities, more consistent and transparent fuel pricing oversight, reduced administrative burden for operators through a single regulatory interface, stronger resilience in fuel supply chains, particularly during emergencies, and greater confidence for consumers that the sector is being independently and effectively regulated. The Minister for Finance and Economic Development, the Honourable Rolston Anglin, said, quote, "This reform is about efficiency, accountability, and sustainability. At present, we have a situation where licensing and regulation sit in two different places. By bringing these functions together under ERCO, we are closing that gap and ensuring that oversight is both coherent and effective. Importantly, this is not about increasing costs or expanding government. It is about aligning responsibility with capability and adopting a proven self-sustaining model that supports better outcomes for the public. This reform ensures that oversight of the fuel sector keeps pace within the needs of our country." End quote. The government will now proceed with legislative drafting, including amendments to the Trade and Business Licensing Act, the development of new fuel market licensing regulations, and amendments to the Dangerous Substances Act and regulations. Stakeholder engagement will form a key part of the implementation process to ensure a smooth transition for fuel sector operators, with provisions in place to maintain continuity of existing licenses and minimize disruption to operations. There's another quote. Interim Chief Executive Officer of ERCOS, Sanji Miles, added, quote, "I am pleased the government has recognized the importance of these reforms and moved swiftly to implement them. Consolidating licensing and regulation under ERCO will enable clearer standards, stronger compliance oversight, and a more effective regulatory environment. This reform represents a significant step toward modern integrated regulation of the fuel sector, promoting fair competition, strengthening pricing rules and transparency, and supporting the long-term resilience of the Cayman Islands energy infrastructure." And that is the end of that press release. So a couple of things popped to mind that I've already mentioned when I gave my summary of this press release and what's going on here. And in the quote from Mr. Miles, from Sanji Miles, he did say that it is strengthening pricing rules and transparency. I would like to understand how it is strengthening pricing rules by ERCO now issuing the business licenses for fuel-related businesses. I would like to know, again, how that will strengthen pricing rules, because, again, we're looking at ERCO taking on a big chunk of added responsibility. And I think this is a good idea. I have a small business and I waited months. I think it was 4 months for my renewal. And that's a little long. It used to be pretty quick, like really, really quick, like a few weeks maybe at the most. And I love the team of the DCI. Great people, great team over there. I know I can reach out and be like, hey, what's going on? So it's a little unusual what's going on maybe in the turnover of business renewals, business license renewals. Perhaps it is a good thing, especially when eliminating red tape and we're talking about efficiencies and having ERCO handle these business licenses. But to me, it means that they have to be able to endure that added capacity. So I would assume that it's going to take more personnel in order to complete those jobs, which means it's going to be more overheads for ERCO. So when we go back as well to Minister Anglin, when he said that this is not about increasing costs or expanding the government, not necessarily about increase, it decreases costs for the DCI, which then leads me to be like, okay, how does this affect the budget? The 2026, 2027 budget, if, maybe my mind is not in the right place. But there's that. There's the idea about the talked about a self-sustaining model. Yes, this is adopting a proven self-sustaining model. Self-sustaining means that ERCO's funding itself. All the revenue is coming from ERCO. They're not being, there's no government grants or other outside funding coming to them, meaning when it's self-sustaining, you're going to have to pay for that somehow. So I'm going to assume, again, overheads go up a little bit. How does that trickle down to the consumer? While I think the efficiency and regulation is better this way, ultimately I want to know what's the cost of this and what's the cost of that when it comes down to the consumer. But interesting move. What are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts? I guess nobody really has any thoughts about the this change to the fuel sector here, but I guess we'll see what happens. But do keep your eye on the gas prices out there. And, it's fluctuating a little bit. We know it's fluctuating, at least in the U.S. I'm seeing the reports there. And there is some global uncertainty going on. Just keep your eye on the gas prices. We're talking about our cost of living and how to manage it best right now, how to get through these very uncertain times. We don't know what's going on. We see what's going on to the north of us with Cuba. It's not necessarily news to us, but it's gotten worse in Cuba. I did see something saying that a Russian oil tanker came in and delivered to Cuba overnight. I also don't know how true that is, so I don't want to be spreading rumors on something that I didn't actually investigate. But there's a lot of uncertainty in the world. We have to keep our eye on things and understand how these moves in government, how they do affect us as ordinary residents, how it will impact our cost of living and perhaps just our processes. So what do you think about this move? Is it a good idea? Is it not a good idea? Do you think it'll be more of a burden? Do you think we will have more transparent pricing for gas? And then on a totally other note, I'm going to end you with that Move It Cayman challenge. I want to know what you guys are doing. I'm going to keep asking you every day that I'm on here, what are you doing for the Move It Cayman challenge? Let me know. I want to know that you're doing something. I want to also encourage you to change your behavior. Did you guys just hear my stomach grumble? Paul said yes, he heard my stomach grumble. That would be wild if all of Cayman just heard my stomach grumble. You know what that means? We're coming to the end of our show right now, and that means Kathy's got to get her breakfast in. So I'm going to do that. We're going to end the show a whole 3 minutes earlier. Are you okay with that, Paul? 3 minutes earlier? No problem at all. And I will be back with you on Thursday. I have some interesting discussions happening on Thursday as well. And it is the end of Women's Month, which, we've had a great month here. We've had a lot of great conversations when it comes to Women's Month. I'm going to be sharing some more of those conversations as well on my personal platforms. Going to go from there. I'm going to leave you with a great Tuesday to have. Some celebrations are happening today. Yes. That's all I can say. For now, maybe you'll hear about it on Thursday with me on The Buzz. Have a great Tuesday, everybody. And don't forget to hang out with us during Talk Today.
The Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And Automotive Art Cayman. Your car, our passion. And by Dorman Day, celebrating 10 years of opening doors to brighter futures. Visit dormanday.ky.
50 years of Cayman's voice, the People's Station. Strong, dedicated, committed, where every story belongs. News, music, community events, and talk shows lighting the way. From Grand Cayman shores to the Brac standing tall. Little Cayman's heartbeat, we're here for them all. Radio Cayman, 50 years we stand. One people, 3 islands, broadcasting bold